welcome to another episode of Indie Thoughts. Hey Gaurav, how are you doing today?
Yes, Saurabh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for starting this again. And we've been talking about restarting this initiative of talking about topics which are close to our heart. So,
Absolutely. So, today I really want to bring up a topic which I believe is very close to you, and you have been practicing it for a while now. And a lot of people find it very difficult. And I have heard a lot of people saying that it is the most difficult thing to do. So, it's about sales. And how I really wanted to bring this topic to you is I was talking to someone yesterday, and that person told me, "Sir, I'm really tired. I've been trying to do sales for a while, but somehow I'm not able to close much." So, being a successful, salesperson, I would say, Gaurav, what do you think? What is sales?
so Saurabh, I think that the topic which we picked up is sales. It's a huge topic. So, if I were to say that I am still learning the art of selling, to be very honest, and the art of selling is not just closing. The art of selling is actually what I feel, according to my view, is having a relationship.
Okay.
So when we talk about selling, we always think about a transaction. We always think about giving and taking. That you are doing certain activity and you're giving some service, and there is someone who is maybe paying you in a money or maybe giving you a barter. So sales or this transactional commitments have been going on since early ages, since Stone Age. So there people used to exchange barter, as in you give me a stone, I'll give you two stones. So so that is what we used to have sales as. But today this has become a hotly, I'll say not hot, but a very, very hot topic about selling. And then looking at pandemic going on right now, sales is one thing which is as in the buzzword. So let it be a digital sale, let it be a online, offline sale, sale. Everyone is talking about that sale. So to your point, what do I think sales is? Sales is, I think, is a relationship building. B, understanding the other person. As in today, if I were to give an example about Saurav and Gaurav, who is there, if Saurav has a need and Gaurav can fulfill that, and so that relationship building actually starts. So you and I, we have seen many of our clients who come to us for just suggestions. And when we'll help them in answering those queries of theirs, they actually build that relationship with us. They come back to us again and again, and then they know that where to loop back upon. So that is what I think is the initiation of a sales practice. And if I were to give you a small example, uh, how does a person learn about sale? That was, I think, the second question which you mentioned about. I think that everyone is a seller by nature or by intent or by design. So by design, some people want to get into sale, some people go into sale because of intent, but there are certain people who are pushed into sale. So I think
So,
that
which
when
one
we
you
were,
are? You were pushed into sales, or you were by design a salesperson?
so I was designed to be a sales guy, then I dropped that idea of being in sales. Then I was again pushed into it, and I think that now I am thriving because both the things actually work for me. So I'm still learning. As I said, I'm still learning the art of selling. And with friends like you, we continue building the relationship. We continue building that closures. We continue having those, I'll say, the connects which are required in the market for closures. So what I think is that a child, as in your son, if he wants something, he'll come and he'll negotiate with you. He'll talk to you that, Papa, I need a cycle, and you'll say, no, again, if you are giving going to get 90% in your school grades, I'll get you a cycle. So what is that happening? What do you call that?
Definitely, that's a negotiation for a sales transaction.
Correct. So that is a sale which is happening. And let's say he gets uh, 90% and you get him a cycle. So that is a trust building because you stood up to your promise, he stood up to his promise, and that transaction completed. Similarly, if I were to take it in a bigger perspective, where today our politicians are there, they're also salespeople. They come to us,
Absolutely.
they promise certain things. I'll make roads, I'll make schools, I'll make bridges. So they're giving that promise. If we take those promises and we give them our currency or vote, and they do that activity, we give them the trust. Next time we give them the vote again. But if they don't do that, they lose that relationship and we move on to the next level. So all relationships have a transaction. All relationships have those five, I'll say, the critical aspects of identifying, of so that identifying is sales qualification. So you're doing a sales qualification, that is Saurabh having that conversation when Saurabh is doing, is he qualified to lead my country? Or you will also say that is 90% for Avian doable or not. So you're qualifying that. So that is in everything. Then comes the second aspect, once it is qualified, is building on that. That will that person who it is qualified now today, does he have that budget? Does he have that intent to buy? So you will compare that intent. Similar for a politician's example or for your son.
Hmm.
The third thing comes is that yes, he has an intent, he has a budget. Now is how early he can close it. That timeline, putting that timeline to your sale closure. Because we do not want a sales cycle to be 6 months or a year long. Then we put a date to it, a time to it. So when we'll talk to Avi and we'll say, in your first term, you'll get 90%, you're putting a date. When you talk to a politician, we'll say, in your Lok Sabha or in your Rajya Sabha or in your local councillor, that date is given to you. That in between these elections, you'll do this, or between one tenure, you'll do this. That is the date time you're putting it. Third thing comes, the fourth thing comes in is the, what you call, so we covered the intent, we covered the financial aspect, we covered the timeline. The fourth aspect is that while I am doing my effort, do I have that effort to fulfill his requirements or not? So doing my homework also. So do I have that much money that I can buy a cycle? Do I have, yes, for a politician, that vote is there. I will be giving that vote, currency is still there. And the fifth one is that leading it to the closure. So that is, these are the five aspects which always in all relationships and all transactions will definitely have.
Okay. So that's a very wonderful way of explaining, how to learn sales and what to do in sales. Now, most of the time, people come back. So I'll give you an example here. You know that I like creativity and I like creative people. So once somehow I, was talking to the CEO of an organization which was doing sort of creative work, and the first thing came out of my mind was, "Wow, that's brilliant! That's so creative." So that person, the CEO of that organization, told me that, Saurabh, the moment you put timeline to anything, the creativity is gone. Now, coming back to sales and trying to compare that, relationship building is very important. And some of the most brilliant salespeople or inside salespeople that I know, have developed those relationships over a period of time. But whenever a lot of salespersons they join, some organization, they are given a timeline that you need to close something, in 3 months of span or 6 months of span. Now, considering that you have been doing sales for a while or you have been in the corporate world for so long, you have those relationships on which you can rely to, uh, convert that relationship into a transaction. But for someone who's new, you know, developing those relationships will take time. So, how should a new guy trying to venture out into sales look at this particular timeline, and how to circumvent it?
Correct. So I'll again put this question into three aspects. So you mentioned about how a new person will be able to close the deals in a given timeline, A, and that how to identify that this sale can be closed in this timeline. Okay.
Not only timeline, what I'm trying to say is that developing relationship takes time.
Right.
And someone new who comes, joins an organization without having those relationships in place, and he's yet to build upon those relationships. So, how he can be more productive for an organization while building those relationships? Because he
Right.
has nothing, there. He's yet to develop those
Correct.
relationships.
Correct.
So, for a fresher who wants to get into sales right out of an MBA college,
Right.
how he can get into sales and be a successful salesperson?
Correct. So for a fresher, so there are two aspects. That's what I said. There are two aspects of looking at selling and timeline. So A, investing in those relationships which, so if I'm a fresher, when I start my sales journey, I always treat any sale as a fresh sale. I have a relationship that is fine, but all the relationships are new for me. So whenever you talk to a customer, you get to know, or a client, you get to know that what is his need, how urgent that need is. So doing that qualification. So as I mentioned that today, that if you are talking to a customer, your first area should be to qualify that. So if a fresher is coming to an organization, he needs to be groomed and needs to be mentored to understand that what is the sales cycle for his product. So if I'm joining a, let's say, a ERP company, which has a ticket size of, let's say, 1 CR plus, that sales cycle might be a 6 months or a 8 month sales cycle because the approvals take that much of time. A. B, if it is a small ticket purchase, maybe a purchase of a off the shelf product, let's say a fan or maybe a candy. So the sales cycle for that product is very fast because if I am selling a candy, I have a walk-in customer also. I have a person who is going to buy in bulk also, toffees in a bulk also. So I have those things. But if a person who is selling it to a B2B customer, his audience will be a different audience versus a person who is doing a B2C sale. Correct?
Yeah.
So when I am talking about a B2B customer, let's say we are talking about an enterprise sale. I'm just giving you an example for that. So let's say we are selling a Dell laptop, let's say. So Dell laptop has to have a certain configuration. It has to have a certain compatibility to requirement. So if I join Dell, I would know that what is the sales cycle for Dell. So I understand that it takes a month to 15 days to move this product because a person would take that much of time to compare your product. Similarly, the person needs to have that kind of knowledge about his customer, that will this customer buy it from me or not. So invest your time in only those customers where you have those qualifications that yes, he has that much of time, he has that much of money that he can invest and he'll buy it in this much of time. So that you do not invest your time in those relationships in which they're just asking details from you and they're not going to close. And you'll get to know when you have first or second meetings with them that yes, they'll close it or they'll not close it, or they're just leeches who are going to get only rates from you and not going to close from you.
Great. That's a wonderful explanation. Now, I'm really trying to keep this conversation a little, short. And so one last question, which I think I have in my mind, that in India, especially if I talk about India, a lot of people join their MBA programs right after their graduation, which is little different across the globe. You need certain degree of experience before you can go ahead and join a good college. It's a little different for India. Now, most of the MBA programs or any other programs in India, especially for a student, I'm not talking about specialized courses curated to serve the sales leaders, but programs for students or someone wants to get into a sales profile. You do not have educational programs where they can actually go ahead and teach sales techniques. They teach marketing, they teach finance, they teach human resources, they teach almost a lot of new technology, including data analytics. But do you really think that we seriously need courses around developing better sales leaders for future?
I think that they do cover sales. So to put things into perspective, sales is taught as a subject. Sales is a part of a curriculum for a couple of MBA colleges. But yes,
Mhm.
to know that yes, if it, that because see, sales is not something which can be learned by sitting in a room. Sale has to be it's a practical experience and that practical conversation when you go on the street. See what when I did my masters, so to share with you, I also did my masters or my MBA post my graduation without any experience.
Yeah.
So I was also inexperienced lad when I joined my masters, and I also did not know that what sales is and what marketing is, the differentiation. that we started to
Yeah.
learn when we read Mr. Kotler. So that
You
way we
see,
got to
that's very
know price.
surprising that most of the people in India they do not have any differentiation between sales and marketing. For them, marketing is actually sales.
Correct. But yeah, so to say that we also had that thought process when we were in our school or we were early days of our graduation, we were also talking about marketing is one and sales is one. It's part of the same. As in, it's the same thing. But yes, it is the same thing, but it comes as a part of a bigger umbrella of marketing where you
Yeah.
have pricing, packaging, the four P's. Now it's a five P's of marketing, the Kotlers and everything. So yes,
Yep.
so to answer to your query, yes, sales is a subject which needs to be trained a lot. But I'll say every transaction is different. Every client is different. Every conversation, because it's a human to human interaction. So today, if you and I are talking about buying a motorcycle, our conversation will be totally different. So if I were to
True.
give you an example about motorcycles in India, Royal Enfield never talks about selling a bike. It talks about selling an experience.
Absolutely.
Hero Honda does not talk about what you call motorcycles. It talks about giving women empowerment or fill it, forget it, fill it, shut it, forget it. That's what
True.
they said. So they never said that buy my bike. So this
Absolutely.
is this
Same
is
goes
how
for Maruti Suzuki. Uh,
correct.
कितना कितना
कितना
देती है?
देती है? Correct, correct.
Right.
So that is what we learned in our marketing classes, that you pinpoint that area which you think is a sweet spot. So my sweet spot, I think, in sales would be having that relationship, creating that relationship, and then building upon those relationships. Because see, people change organizations. I change the organization, you change the organization, our customers or our clients, they change the organization. But those relationships, if you are helping them today with your product and your service, and they're happy with that delivery of yours, they'll definitely come back to you, or they'll definitely refer you to that to the next company. The only thing is that you need to be consistent in what you say and what you do. Because today you cannot say that as a seller or as a the word I'll say selu is that पर सब कुछ हो जाएगा, मैं सब कुछ कर दूंगा, मतलब it is not like a conversation that you have with your girlfriend that मैं चांद सितारे तोड़ लाऊंगा, मैं सब कुछ आपकी झोली में डाल दूंगा. And when you get married, she says, dude, तू तो पानी के क्या कहते हैं दूध तक नहीं लेके आ सकता चाय के लिए, तू चांद सितारे क्या लाएगा. So that is what needs to be done, is that reliability, that authenticity of your word, that has to be inculcated. And I think that in India we have huge audience which is doing sales. As in I'm I'm really surprised that sales is such a big deal for all the organizations, and still people struggle in sales.
Yeah.
So see, sales is the I think the most important part of any organization. Let it be a chai wala or let it be Mr. Ambani. They really need a sales guy, or they really need a sales engine to actually enhance them. But
Okay.
they still struggle.
So absolutely, Gaurav, because you are a sales leader, so you feel that sales is the most important aspect of any organization. You can ask this to the operations leader; he would have a different thought. So I
No, no,
think,
due respect to everyone. Due respect to everyone. I have no qualms because I have worn the operations hat also. So I can say that yes, operations is also a very important part of any organization. But yes, the front line, the customer services or the front line sales guys, those are actually your brand ambassadors. So if I were to say
absolutely.
that your mechanics are your sales agents? Yes, they are. If I had to say a doctor is a sales agent, yes, he's a doctor is a sales agent. So I think that if you close your eyes and see any profession in your life, they're doing some kind of sale.
Great. So taking that from the great, but I still believe that solutioning and pre-sales is the most important role that someone can have in any organization. And with that note, now we know that what topic we are going to discuss in our next podcast. So thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Saurabh.
next time we will talk about the importance of solutioning and pre-sales. And trust me, a lot of people would not have even heard this name pre-sales.
True, true.
So we'll
But
talk
still, you're
about
saying it's a very important topic.
it. Absolutely.
Thank you,
So
Saurabh.
thank you for your time. Have a great day,
Thank
and we will talk soon.
thank
Bye bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.